between what I said, I guess, because I said a few to 16, so 10 is like in between, right? So yes, I am back. My laptop is charging. I put my makeup away so I feel a little better. Probably should have filled my water. We'll get to it. Caffeine of choice today is Coca-Cola because I didn't want to drink a whole fresh, fresh, French press. And first thing I'm going to do before I pull out any tarot cards is grind up this weed, because when I said that I was missing my weed, 2 different nugs were attached to this sweater in 2 different places, and I'm not even really sure how that happened, but we're going to prevent it from happening again by just grinding up this fucking weed, okay? So, let's talk about the night. We have some regularly scheduled readings to do, as mentioned, the Thoth Tarot, the Halloween Oracle, and the Cosmic Deck of Initiation. The first one we'll do is the Thoth Tarot, and that, of course, is for weekly insight on anything that might come up. Always situational, very vague, very much the most all-inclusive deck, if you will. Then we will be using the Halloween Oracle, which I typically reserve for readings with the dead, but recently took on shadow work readings, shadow self readings. So we'll be doing one of those to see how you might be tested and affected this week, and what to do with your nasty side. And I don't mean that in the fun way, I mean that in the bad way. Then we'll have our Cosmic Deck of Initiation just to add some inspiration, and even, dare I say, some wholesomeness before we go. I was honestly way earlier, I was considering coming on here and just talking, because I'm not necessarily in the mood to talk, but I just have been thinking a lot, and that's how I am. It's part of the PMDD cycle for sure, but I haven't smoked any weed today. So I don't know if it's making me a little more camera shy or if it's just my cycle, but I noticed little things like 5 minutes ago, not even, because I've only been on the stream for 2.5 minutes, I stuttered a little, and it's like, it's weird because I feel like, okay, I've always kind of had a stutter, but now I'm noticing that I only stutter when my brain's not working at full capacity, like during PMDD week, which I find extremely interesting, like extremely interesting, that I can go 3 weeks without stuttering or thinking twice about what I'm saying, because everything comes out like nice and gentle, and then for 1 week or a week and a half or 2 weeks even, it's chaos. It's mixed up, stuttering, kind of abrasive even. It's just so nuts. It's so nuts. So I don't want to get too deep into this before I find center, rip the bong, quite frankly. Some people might think that sounds dependent, and to an extent it is. I do use the weed extremely medicinally when it comes to my PMDD rage, but I'm not really raging today just because I wasn't forced to do anything today. And if I can just sit still and let my mind be mush, then I'm usually pretty good. But I'm also feeling less than 100% in front of the camera right now. You know? But because my book that I'm working on is partially a research book, in regards to PMDD, I don't mind having the footage. I've thought about canceling when I'm like, I can't talk. Like, I'm not making any sense. I'm barely getting the words out. I'm not the smooth operator I was last week. I'm the same bumbling idiot I was 3 days ago. But I think it'll be beneficial to my research later to be able to see the difference, hear the difference, and find the difference in my different parts of the cycle. And that's why it's very important to me to track my cycle, because then I can cross-reference and cross-date each fucking day of it, right? When you think about it, for even 2 secs, very highly beneficial. So yeah, cramps, stomach going off, head hurts and is full of frogs. But here I am. Here I am. Forgot to eat. Yeah, I did forget to eat really anything today. That's okay. I had a little bit of protein earlier, and that's what really counts. Because too much food will get me worked up, and it will put me in a fit of rage, simply for having energy. It's kind of nuts. It's kind of really nuts. So yeah, I mean, you can make fun of my stuttering, I guess, if you want to. Some people do. I have a friend who always goes, what, remix? But I genuinely think that's funny. Especially when it seemed more random when I was stuttering. So, yeah. Sprite Remix is really good. Nobody even remembers that pop. Fortunately. So, yeah, I'm just kind of picking out some fucking stems in this weed, and then I'm gonna grind it up, and then blah blah blah. What does that have to do with tarot, man? Well, so you can see that I'm a little all over the place, stuttering, and, my mind is everywhere. Good thoughts, bad thoughts, irrelevant thoughts, made up thoughts, old thoughts, past thoughts, future thought. Like, it's nice to have weed to shut it up, shut it down, and keep me in the zone. Because I always use weed as a spiritual practice when I work. What the fuck what was that? Are they trying to get me to roll an ad already? Is that what that... I saw a pop-up out of the corner of my eye, but... Oh, I didn't even try to put glasses on today. I swear to God, it's so weird, but, like, this bitch does not wear glasses. Like, I can't see any better, but putting on my own prescription fucking hurts sometimes. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's literally like being a different person and no one believes you because you fucking appear to be the same to them, or it happens again the next month and blah, 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 blah. And I'm so sick of being gaslit into thinking that I'm well enough to be able to cure this on my own when there's no cure known to man in the whole world. So how could I be personally responsible for something that literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of doctors, professionals, and other women have yet to figure out? Does that make sense? Does that make sense for everyone? Man. I do get sick of it. So, anyway, it's a little irrelevant, I suppose, but honestly, it's quiet. Somebody's watching with great intent. And I don't have anything else to add. Unless you want to talk about Jesus. I was going to wait a little bit later into the evening because I feel like the Christians are still awake. But I found this Bible quote today. Oh my God. I spend a lot of my angry time on Reddit because it's like you can find some really good troll incent bot comments that are just like so gross and insulting and off the wall that it's like I can have a heroic moment instead of a villain moment, and use all that dull idle energy within me that rages out in the way that it does on said comment. Not in a way that I'm super aggressive, but I'll just take my time and like type some shit out. It helps. Some people with PMDD try to avoid being on the internet at that time, but for me, I avoid people and are more on the internet. And I'm not an anonymous Reddit user either. It's my same screen name as my Instagram and everything else. So, yeah, am I going to say I never get snarky? Absolutely not. I can be very snarky sometimes. But I don't think anything I do is too off the wall or too insulting or too terrible. But either way, some young lass asked Reddit about body counts. And these comments were brutal. They were disgusting. They were like, it was so bad. And someone was talking about Jesus forgiving whores, being disappointed in forgiving whores. And I'm like, excuse you, but Jesus married a whore? So I don't know why the fuck you think he'd be, one, disappointed, And 2, would only forgive when in reality would likely marry this person. But that's okay. It prompted me to look up a little more information about Mary Magdalene because I did go to Catholic school forever. And we did always semi-worship Mary Magdalene, but there is so much stigma, one, around worshiping women in Christian religions, 2, honoring Mary, his mother, let alone 3, his secret wife. So, I know some about her. Veronica wiped the face of Jesus. Yeah, so Mary Magdalene, they were homies, whatever. I'm looking this stuff up, looking at this research. Not looking at research, I'm making shit up right now. Found this quote. This is what I'm getting at. Let Mary leave us, for women are not worthy of life. Okay, I should start with Simon Peter said that. Why the fuck is this dude? I don't want to get into Simon Peter, but Simon Peter said to him, let Mary leave us, for women are not worthy of life. Jesus said, I myself shall lead her in order to make her male, so that she too may become a living spirit resembling you males. For every woman who will make herself male will enter the kingdom of heaven. Gospel of Thomas, line 114. Okay, so I'm obsessed with it now. I cannot believe the Bible straight up said that they prefer trans women to women. I'm sorry, trans men to women. That was about trans people. What do you mean? Jesus literally said, I will make her a man so that I like her more. He never did, not gonna lie. As far as any of us know, she stayed a woman. Then again, would the Bible really include the bit about Mary, the whore of Babylon's transition? No, they absolutely wouldn't. Think about how deeply they've buried this part. Jesus was in full support of trans men, not necessarily trans people. Because that's a very, woman-hating quote. But it's pro-trans men. And I just find it ironic that Christians are like, well, that's not what God intended. Oh, but I thought you said that the Son of God was inherently God and that they were the same person and therefore the same God. And if that God said that it was okay for a woman to transition into a man, I'm not really sure why you said that it's against God's will to transition. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's really crazy. So, that was the best find today. I didn't find it on Reddit. I found it because of Reddit. It was good. It was really good. I really loved it. So what's up? Thing about trans people decoding the Bible right now? What's good? That's what I would be doing if I were you. No way. Literally Thomas 1:14. Look it up. I mean, let's just think about this fucking straight away. Peter? Simon Peter? His name was Simon, period. His name was Simon. Okay? Listen, with how many names can be unisex, there are men named Kelly and Ashley and Aubrey. And we think of them as girl names. So for you to fucking sit here and try to tell me that Simon was definitely a man and a man's name. No, fuck. No, there's no such thing. First of all, there's no such thing. Second, why on earth would he change his name to Peter? That's weird. Why the fuck does Simon go by Peter? Doesn't seem like a nickname for Simon to call him Peter. And yet, we find evidence that Jesus was cool with trans men. Anybody else gonna pick that up? Or am I just gonna keep putting it down? The Bible is hella gay, and the more y'all deny and repress and ignore that, the more toxic heterosexuality becomes. Point blank fucking period. Argue with me. I would love that. But it's true. The Bible's super fucking gay. The whole story of Jesus is really fucking gay. And now it's pro-trans. And I don't mean now, as in I just decided. I mean, it always was. And I'm just finding out. And I really can't wait for the Christians to find out and to see how they would interpret that passage themselves. They are literally talking about genders assigned at birth, okay? Males like you? Okay, yeah. Jesus was performing bottom surgery as one of his fucking miracles. Just saying, just pointing it out, just letting you know. He literally preferred trans men to women. Is that not fucking gay to you? The fuck? The fuck? Hung out with 12 dudes and one chick and would rather the chick be a dude. That's the gayest thing. If you told someone that based on a person, you would 100% be like, yeah, that sounds gay. That sounds gay. But because it's Jesus, we just pretend it isn't. That's so wild. That's literally so wild. No wonder the Christians hate the gays. New World Order to just take what's ours in the first place, bro. Jesus was a gay icon, and you literally made him the pinnacle of straight people. That is so wrong. That is so wrong. Give us Jesus back. We want Jesus. I'm done with the Christians and their fucking homophobic hating asses. I can't wait for them to find out Jesus was fucking gay. Stupid. So yeah, that's my little rant of the day. That was my daily Jesus is gay rant with new information. Because I do talk about this a lot. Like a lot. A lot. Yeah. Even the idea of priests, like, giving up their life and devoting it to a man and, like, refraining and abstaining from having sexual intercourse to prove their allegiance to said man, dare I say, is fucking gay. Dare I say, is fucking gay. The sooner y'all accept that, the better off literally society will be. Literally, that's what I mean. Where it's like, what's with the oppression? What's with the repression? What's with that? When historically speaking, the gladiators were gay, the Romans were gay, the Greeks were gay. Like, they were openly having butt sex when they went off to war. It is like part of the reason the pixie cut exists is because Greek women knew that their husbands had boyfriends when they would be off to war. And so the women would cut all of their hair off to make it short for when their husbands came home so that it would be a greater comfort to them. Because they knew they'd miss their male lovers, especially if they died in battle and didn't come home. Straight up. Like, what? Yeah. You know? And that's the thing. How many of these, like, repressed, weirdo, hateful people would have just, like, been open and not fear it, had religion specifically not jammed it down their throat that being gay was bad, when in fact the religion that they are jamming down their throats was the gayest fucking book in history. The Bible's so fucking gay. They're like, we don't even like women. Women suck. We hate women. You shouldn't have sex with boys, but having sex with men is fine. Women would be better as men. Like, this is the Bible we're talking about. Why is that so anti when it's so obvious? So it's just like, where along history, who was responsible for that switch? You know, where like openly bisexual. I shouldn't say gay. I think people get really offended. Yeah, I actually read a Reddit about that today. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever watched the show Rami. I fucking highly recommend it. It's really funny. It's really good. I think it's helpful if you understand like Arabic or Muslim culture at all, but it's probably really informative if you don't. And informative even if you do, because there's details that I definitely didn't know. But Rami's really good. Rami's a really good show. And they deal with some of that. In the show. So, Let me run an ad before they start barking at us. I probably have 30 minutes, but I'm just going to do 20 so I can keep track. I'm just going to do a minute also, so I will be right back. So I'm just sitting here, and I think that my settings have it so that my subscribers don't have to watch ads. Sometimes I'll sing. Sometimes I like just need a minute anyways, but I'm just trying to finish grinding up my weed. And then I also don't really know if like in the replay, do the ads play in the replay? Right. Yeah, cuz you're a subscriber. Thank you for that. There's not many benefits to subscribing to me other than you help me live my life and do my job, but also you don't have to watch any ads, which pretty cool. Pretty cool. If you ask me. But we're about to be back, so thank you. You did. You always do. And we're back. So, if you're just joining us, we're talking about how gay Christianity, the Bible, and Jesus are. So, anyway, I want to clarify. I use the word gay really liberally because for a long time, there was not really like the whole alphabet of words to describe people at our availability necessarily. Even as a young queer myself, we had a gay straight alliance in high school. We did not include the whole damn alphabet. So, for me and growing up, gay was a word for anyone who was gay, deviated from the norm, enjoyed sexual relations with others of the same sex. Didn't matter on what capacity or to what extent you enjoyed those things. It was all just gay. So, like, I don't want people to be super offended when I say stuff like it's gay, when really it could be queer in some way. It could be bisexuals that we're talking about. It could be anything, but it's gay energy. It's like gayness. I know that nowadays, because there is a whole alphabet of words to describe people, that gay is typically reserved for like men who love men. But I very much use it as an umbrella term. And I'm stopping to say that because Jesus maybe was bisexual. It's hard to say. He could have been bisexual. But he was only with one woman, Mary Magdalene, and literally said himself that he'd prefer her as a man. So bisexual at the most, but probably gay, like full homosexual, gay, like hardcore gay. If I say I'm gay, I'm bi, pan, whatever. I don't give a fuck who you are as long as you're hot, cool, loving, caring, kind, compassionate, passionate. Don't care. Sometimes I want this, sometimes I want that. Sometimes I don't want anything. Whatever. I call myself gay a lot, but I don't exclusively like women. I'm myself not exclusively a woman. I think I called myself a man about 10 minutes ago. So, just wanted to say, if I'm ever using that term and it confuses you, because you're like, aren't you with a man? Haven't you been with men before? Like, sure. It made me any less fucking gay because I like women just as much. 50% gay, does that help? Not even 50%, because what about all the non-binary folks, right? And of course, if I identify as a man, is it still gay to love women? Yeah, it's just lots of gray areas. Not even sure why. I was going to say not sure why we're having this conversation, but I do know why, and it's because of one, me, and two, Jesus. I'm almost done, by the way, with what I'm doing, and I'll pull the cards out. Does anyone have anything to add about my claims on Christianity being the gayest religion in the world, or no? I don't really like to come for religions that aren't my own, also, because I feel like it's not really mine to say, and I don't really know, and I didn't study it, but I did go to Catholic school for like 11 years, grew up in the church, like, I'm a certified confirmed Christian, so I just like to remind people of that. I'm not attacking Christians as an other. I'm not some atheist sitting here claiming that your Jesus is this and that or your religion. That's my religion as well. I am a Christian. I know it hurts. I know it hurts so fucking bad. It's like a knife to your chest. When you see me and you hear me, and you're like, you can't be Christian. No, actually, I can be, because based on your own rules, and Jesus is teaching himself that as long as I follow Christ, which I did my whole life and still do to this day, that you're Christian. And as long as you don't deny him, and even if you do, he still forgave Judas or Peter, whoever the fuck. Peter denied him. But that's it on that. I am a certified Christian, confirmed Catholic. That means that I went the whole fucking mile. I did so many of my sacraments, so sorry if you don't like it. Doesn't make it any less of my beliefs than your own. And your opinion on it doesn't make me any less Christian, right? In fact, I might even be more Christian than some of y'all. I went to church every motherfucking Friday for 8 years. Sometimes on the weekends, too. Sometimes Saturday night and Sunday morning, okay? You can't beat it. I probably went to church more times than, well, definitely more times than I can count, but probably more times than your average Christian. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know how many fucking funerals I've been to? That alone right there. Probably at least 50 funerals in churches. Bro, that right there is more than you've done in a year. So, I don't want to hear it. When was the last time I was in church? Let me think. A month ago? 2 months ago? I don't know. Recenter than you might believe. Doing tarot does not interfere with my faith whatsoever. I am genuinely trying to remember the last time I went to church. I can't believe that it would be my grandma's funeral last October. That would be bad. I feel like I went to church this year. Probably because someone else died and I'm forgetting. Was Uncle Bill this year? R.I.P. if he was. Maybe last year. I don't know. I don't go that often. I think about it a lot, though. I live near a church, and I don't even really know what the religion is, but it's got saint in the name, so I'm like, okay, I can probably go there. I probably get the gist. I think about going there all the time. And then I think about what I'd wear, and I think that's why I end up not going. Because what I think of as my nice clothes or being dressed up or whatever isn't always, like, what the Christians want. And even though, like, God will accept anyone and whatnot, it's kind of one of those things of, like, they don't, though, Couldn't really show up in my goth boots or anything like that. Probably shouldn't wear a hot pink dress, stuff like that. But who knows? Maybe I'll go to church this weekend. It is too late. Next weekend. Maybe I'll go to church next weekend. This coming weekend. Yeah, I think I will. And it's not to prove a point. It's because, like I said, I've been thinking about it ever since I started living by this church I don't know about. Actually, they had a little carnival. It was nice. And I went to the carnival, so I was like, I should probably go to a mass. Still haven't. I mean, my practices are very similar to their practices anyways. Drinking wine, eating bread, lighting candles, lighting incense, singing, praising, speaking blessings. Like, I'm doing that shit anyway. Let me just go for an hour and do it with other people who I might make uncomfortable, but will be better for it in the end, right? Let's all go to church this Sunday. I'm aware that it is currently Sunday. I mean, this upcoming Sunday, we're all going to go to church, okay? Go to your respective local Christian churches and remind these people that you can be a Christian no matter what you look like, no matter what religion you are, and that the very key of Christianity has always been following Christ. That is the definition of a Christian. And what would Christ do? He would tell you to stop fucking paying your taxes. He would flip a table if he even knew that these churches were profiting off of any of it. He would wash the feet of a prostitute. He would hang out with a bunch of gay dudes that clearly wanted so much dick from him. Like, what wouldn't Jesus do? I fucking love that guy, man. I love him. I love him. And anybody who wants to disrupt my relationship to Christ can literally go to hell based on their own thing, right? Just saying. What's y'all's favorite church song? Because my favorite, like, basic church song or, like, religious song. Yeah, okay, well, you noticed I pulled the bong out. Relax. It is about to be tarot time. First, we're talking about our favorite fucking church songs. So my favorite nondescript Jesus song is This Little Light of Mine, for sure. That song fucks so hard. I don't even know if it's actually a Christian song. Oh, that's a good one. Swing low, sweet chariot, right? Or is that something different? I definitely think of George Clinton either way. Yeah, This Little Light of Mine, totally a banger. Once more, nice. Once more, not sure if that's really religious based or if they made it religious, because it's just like, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. That's a beautiful song. That's such a good positive message. But the reason I'm like, oh, it's my favorite Christian song is because at least when I went to Catholic preschool, we used to sing it a lot. And one of the verses was, I won't let Satan poof it out, I'm gonna let it shine. So, like, I don't know if they made it religious or if it's always been a religious song, but that would be number one. When it comes to, like, actual Catholic hymnals, City of God probably is my favorite. That shit is a banger, bro. And it's so happy. The Lord, the light, and our love has turned the night into day. Like, yes, it has. I love that, even though I do really enjoy being awake at night. May our tears be turned into dancing. That's, baby, that's, oh, it's so good. So good. Yeah. City of God. It's just got to be City of God. That's easily my favorite. I would get so fucking excited when they post the hymnal numbers on the board and you walk in and it's like 536. That's my shit. And yes, I was not making up a number. It was hymnal 536 in the books we had when I was in elementary school. So, suck it. I love how many people were like, I can't wait for the tarot or listen to her talk about Jesus anymore. Who knew? Who knew that I was a religious zealot? Just kidding. I don't know if that's the right word. Isn't that someone who's like obsessive about shit? Zealot? Or is it more like a bigot? I don't actually know. I'm literally looking up the definition of zealot right now. Yeah, I was right. A person who is fanatical and uncompromising in the pursuit of their religious, political, or other ideals. Yeah, I'm kind of a zealot. Totally into Jesus. I think everyone should be into Jesus. Whatever. Oh my God, what? You just, oh my God, because you're pissed that I haven't started the tarot yet? I missed when you said, oh my God. And now I'm extremely offended by it. Maybe you already left. I don't know. Anyway, the whole point was I was grinding on my weed and filling up my bong so I could rip it before I started the tarot so I could get back to center, because clearly all I can think about right now is Jesus. I'm trying to get back in the zone, okay? We're going to church this next Sunday. All of us. I don't care. Mob the churches, bro. Flip a few tables, kiss a whore, do what you gotta do. But do it like Jesus. You think Jesus didn't smoke weed? Are you kidding me? Homie was a drug dealer. What? Why else would these men who had perfectly good jobs and perfectly good wives and perfectly good lives would drop everything to follow him? Like, come on, they were obviously selling drugs. Don't even. Plus, I don't come from puritanical Christianity. I come from I said I'm sorry Christianity, okay? I was never a fucking Puritan. I was never Protestant. I was never Lutherans drink, don't they? I was never Jehovah's Witness. None of that. I don't think Jehovah's Witness are Christian. Either way, I'm not puritanical just because I'm Christian. I'm Catholic, like a good witch. And we all about the herbs and spices, okay? We drink wine during mass. You think they give a fuck if I smoke weed? They don't. They don't. They never did. Come on. Come on. I think that's the problem with Christianity and stuff, and even like identifying as such, is because that is what people think about, is like the Protestants and like puritanical Christianity, but no. Catholics, and I don't know how common this is in other Christian religions, and this is something I have talked about on my stream before. More likely recent, if I even remember the conversation at all. But a big part of Catholicism is like reliving the pain of Jesus, like to the point where it is pretty much sadistic. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that is like a normal Christian thing to do, but we, as discussed before, we reenact like his murder once a week for 5 weeks straight. So, like, they make us read it from a book, recite it out loud, enact it, perform it, read it, write it. Like, we had to know each fucking step. You know, like Veronica wipes the face of Jesus. I think that's number 6. How many stations of the cross are there? Like 18 or something? I used to know them all. Like, Jesus is condemned to death. Jesus bears his cross. Pontius Pilate curses his name or something. Pontius Pilate says he's sorry, actually. Pontius Pilate is one of the only people in the whole story who actually did not want to sentence Jesus to death and was a bit of a Christian himself. But because he was in a position of power and it was a right democracy, he had to do the majority rules. So he tried to convince the people to kill Barabbas and not Jesus. And the people chose Jesus instead. So, you think they care about a little bit of weed when they literally are serving violence? No. I'm going to tell you right now. No, they don't. They fucking really don't. Like, whatever helps you cope with the trauma that you get from Catholic school. And it's funny how many, like, people will be like, oh, Catholic school survivor, haha. But did you hear what I just said? It's not like studying an actual war that happened. Like, we were reenacting the Stations of the Cross, which involve Jesus getting whipped, Jesus getting stabbed, Jesus getting fucking nails through his hands and feet, him getting starved to death, thirsted to death. What do you call that? Dehydrated? Well, it wasn't even he does it or dies. It was like he does it or loses his job and maybe dies. Like there was no way around the democracy, right? Like it was majority rules. So he was just doing what he knew he had to do, and Jesus also knew that. So that's like really fucked up and kind of traumatic for children, don't you think? To be like enforced to eat this violence over and over again. That's crazy. Like with full imagery. If you don't believe me or know about this, you can pretty much walk into any Catholic church and most of them will have each station of the cross around the whole church, because it's a whole ceremony where they would have the kids up front, somebody reading the story, and sometimes the kids enacting it out, and then they'd also have candles lit and stop at each station and have a procession walk the whole thing. Sometimes with a cross, if it was like an adult. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What? Did y'all know that Christians were doing that shit? Because that sounds very ritualistic. That sounds very magic. That sounds very violent. That sounds very conditioning. That sounds very what the fuck? For sure. And I think that when people are like, haha, survive the trauma of Catholic school, they barely even address or think about the aspect of violence in the church. They're thinking about being forced to do things by the nuns or their uniforms or the punishment, a lot of corporal punishment with Catholic school.
But they aren't thinking about the theology of the violence, I don't think, when they say stuff like that. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So let's run our 20-minute ad break. I'm going to do another one at the hour. Switch to 3 minutes. We get a little extra time. So I'll be right back. And then I will pull out the cards. I just had it, y'all. You saw how it was going. I had to find center. We'll be right back.